So UnitedHealthcare wants to put me out of business. They don't want you to get your keloid removed. They don't care if you get your keloid removed. They'd rather say that you people of color that have those keloids don't deserve that surgery. I think we all have heard about what happened to the UnitedHealthcare CEO and Luigi Mangione being the accused assailant. Violence is never the answer for problems that we may have. However, Luigi actually brought about a topic. He brought about sentiment. He's rallying sentiment that I think so many of you and us as providers are feeling. And if you think about it, right, we go through our careers, our professional lives, paying into this insurance, hoping and praying that when we need it most, when we fall on our face, when we get in a car accident, when we have that intractable pain, that our insurance carrier is going to be there for us. It hurts when we find that they're not there for us. He brought to the forefront that UnitedHealthcare is one of the leading insurance carriers that deny claims. I'd like to say that they're probably the most. They're the insurance company that denies the most that we at least deal with in our practice. UnitedHealthcare, I'd also like to say, not only affects the patient, but also affects the provider, right? Because if the patient can't move forward with surgery, I can't help that patient. So we today have this very special patient. And the reason why it's so special is because guess what? She actually works for UnitedHealthcare. And guess what else? Where does she work? She works in the claims department at UnitedHealthcare. And check this out, this story. In 2024, in December, we were putting this patient on the schedule, and her insurance approved her removal. Now, the year turned, she got a new ID number, we submitted again, same medical records. But guess what happened this time? She got denied. And you know what? I just got off the telephone with the case reviewer. And you know what they told me? Why the case was denied? Because they said that UnitedHealthcare will not allow us to cover scar removal, scar revision surgery. And I said, well, sir, this isn't a scar. This is a keloid that, yes, is made up of scar tissue, but it doesn't behave like a scar. It behaves like a fungating, tumorous growth of scar tissue that's extending beyond the borders of the original insult. Now this might have been just a vaccination. Little dot that's now become the size of a grapefruit that is squeezing intently on those nerve endings, and it's making it incredibly difficult for her to even sleep. How do you sleep on your side when you're sleeping on a rock that's squeezing on the nerve endings? So they told me that they couldn't approve the case. So what am I to do? I have a patient here, all the way from Tennessee, hoping and praying that she wants to get rid of her keloid. So what did I do? I did the case for nothing. For nothing. So UnitedHealthcare wants to put me out of business. They don't want you to get your keloid removed. They don't. They don't care if you get your keloid removed. They'd rather say that you people of color that have those keloids don't deserve that surgery. You need to live with this. You need to live with the pain of this, but we don't care. We don't want you to have your keloid removed. So, what are we to do? Do we open our mouths? Do we shout? Do we raise our voices? Or do we just say, yeah, okay, I'll just have to live with this pain for the rest of my life. I have to live with getting injections, steroid injections, going to the dermatologist for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life, I won't be able to sleep because I won't be able to find a good place to lay my head. So I am hoping, and we will appeal this, and I'm hoping that UnitedHealthcare will not only take care of this person suffering with this disease, but they'll also take care of their employee who is suffering with this disease. Every day she goes to work to fight the battle for UnitedHealthcare, to do their bidding. And the one time that she needs them to fight for her, they're not there. We started a not-for-profit, Operation Keloid.org, many, many years ago. A lot of people have, the desire to help, but not everybody has the wherewithal to help. And so we look for donations that we then turn around and use for those people that don't have the funds or the wherewithal or to be able to travel. One of the big initiatives that we're trying to work on right now is completing a medical van that allows us to do not only the surgery but the radiation all in the van. And so we can drive that van into populations and communities that need the service, whether that's here in the United States or across the waters. And Census Healthcare, who really developed and really perfected the superficial radiation, made a gracious donation in giving us the SRT machine for the van. But we still haven't been able to get the van out because it needs to be converted, and that's not an inexpensive process. So texting Keloid to 41444, you will get a ping back. And if everyone just donated $1, we would be able to get that van out, and we would be able to continue to help those that are suffering with something like this that's just debilitating. It's not even just the look of what it is, it's the pain. Because that scar tissue is dense. It's just squeezing on all the nerve endings. It's inhibiting her ability to move her arm where she wants to move her arm. And imagine, again, sleeping on her side when this is there, present. So, yes, anyone who feels the need to want to make a difference in the lives of people, OperationKeloid.org is there to be that conduit.
And what about people who are picking insurance companies? Are there any companies who have not denied claims? He said he's picking one soon.
So that's a great question too. And in our experience, Aetna and Cigna tend to be very progressive when it comes to this disease. In fact, Aetna has a policy for keloids that we often have to utilize and send to the other carriers because they say that these are not medically necessary procedures. Well, Aetna's written a policy that says, well, it actually is medically necessary. And the radiation after it is medically necessary. And so we tend to use what Aetna states as a basis to try to motivate other insurance companies to cover this disease.
That's a good question. And more people are asking how they can reach us internationally.
We have a lot of international inquiries, and it is challenging because the time zone differences. We don't have, some may not be able to call us. We try our best to do telehealth visits, which can be done online. So it's just that telephone communication, which is sometimes challenging. And I'm not sure, I think we may have a corporate WhatsApp. And so that can be utilized to help communicate as well. But I know a lot of the consultants will just give their personal WhatsApp numbers so that you can actually talk to them.
That is correct. And so if we can kind of go by step how we create individual plans for the patient and what that might look like, our journey when we see our patients.
So that's a great question because not every keloid is the same, right? Every one is almost like a fingerprint. They're all different. And so they require different procedures or different techniques in order to help. And one incision, just because you have a shoulder keloid doesn't mean that we can use the same incision or the same reconstruction on every patient. Well, that was the other thing that I forgot to mention, that the UnitedHealthcare gentleman that I spoke to told me they would not cover, they said they wouldn't cover anesthesia, they would not cover anesthesia if it was administered by the surgeon. Well, that's, we don't typically do this without anesthesia, a lesion this large, and so, again, we gave it to the patient. So, in this case, we can't remove all of this at one time because there just isn't enough skin to do so. So our goal was to remove the most affected part, the part that was the most painful. And you can see that this area here has a kind of a pit, and that's because it drains foul-smelling discharge and pus on occasion. You can see a nodule here, and you can see this edge very tense and tight. And that's because these keloids grow at the perimeter. And so it might have started right here in the middle, but it grows outward, and it's growing in this direction. And so what we really set out to do today was to go after the area that is growing. So we literally cut around all of this, all the way over to here, and then came back and did something like this. So we took out all of the really tense growing area and only left this little piece in here. But this little piece is actually going to get radiation administered. And so we hope that that primary radiation in this area will cause these areas that are nodular and growing to kind of settle down and quiet down. This was not done for aesthetics. This person did not do this to revise a scar, which the UnitedHealthcare reviewer wanted to claim. We did this to eliminate the foul-smelling chronic abscess that they had, the chronic pain that they had, and to make their quality of life a little better with a little less pain.
Now, you did touch upon something, our technique. And in the audience, someone has asked, are there any studies with removal and then stem cell injections with PRP?
So there are none that I am aware of that are randomized control studies. There may be anecdotal studies. We actually performed a randomized prospective study on the effects of PRP. We just have not been able to publish that paper. And in fact, just today we spoke to some of our staff about revisiting, looking back and seeing if we can bring that back to life so that we can actually publish those results, because I do feel it's very important these insurance companies never cover PRP because they claim that there's no studies, and there aren't. So we embarked on an IRB approved study to try to prove that PRP actually made a difference. And so now we're going to go back and look at those results, and it's probably been now 5 years, to see if those that were treated with PRP have less recurrence than those that were not. my main goal is to, and I think that, unfortunately, it's bringing this to light. It's bringing this to light that there is an element of just frustration that so many people have with their insurance companies. It doesn't justify any violence, people, but it does justify us rallying together as a community of people that have alternatives, that have choices. We don't have to utilize UnitedHealthcare. We don't have to have them as our carrier. We can go to an Aetna. We can go to a Cigna. We can go somewhere else. We can make that choice. So I just want to bring about just awareness that if you are suffering from a keloid, make sure that you have a carrier that cares about you and cares about your situation, your plight. Because the provider, whether it's me or anyone else who's out there helping you with your keloid, they can't do it alone. They can't do it for free.